And welcome everyone to Inclusivity, Engagement, Differentiation, Have It All using Agile Course Design for Virtual Learning. Go ahead, Kat.
Welcome everyone. I'm trying to figure out how to make this work without interactive tools. I know I don't have them here, but this is just a prelude to what we're doing here. The slides are designed through Microsoft Office 365, which are designing slides for interactive tools. And for some reason, Zoom has not yet put them in. It would work fine. I have interactions planned for you. But if we had laser pointers, if we had text tools, if we had pencil tools, if we had reaction tools in a different sense than Zoom has it, it would even be more interactive. So all of you that are sitting out there that have been in Zoom rooms that feel like it's difficult to work with, you are correct. It's very much more confined in its ability to let you interact. And as we go through the slides, I'll share with you what would happen in other virtual rooms. And it's really interesting because most LMSs have good virtual rooms attached to them. For some reason, everyone's gravitated towards Zoom, which we are here with. So what this brief presentation is about is using Agile designing, which is from software industry, to design a course that will give you full inclusivity, full engagement, full differentiation without ever having any issue with someone saying, well, you didn't include this or you didn't include that. So let me go to the next slide and see if I can. Now, are you seeing my slides or my pull down menu? What are you seeing?
I'm seeing your entire PowerPoint with the slides on the side and your bar on the top.
And what happens is when I go to this, then I can't get to my other tools that I need. That's the problem with me doing full screen, which is one of the problems with, let me drop out of this for a minute. Okay, now it's coming up. I'm having trouble getting to my other tools, but so this is the idea of the ideal learning environment. It's from Connectivism Theory. This has been around since 2007. So it's not anything new, but for some reason, tech people recognized it, used it, but it didn't make its way into general education. So hopefully I'm doing that with you now. Now, what I'm trying to access right now in here is, okay, the chat. Okay, what I'm going to put in chat right now is a link. If I can, come on. I'm waiting for it to link. Come on. There it is. In any good inclusive class, you don't want to screen share regularly because that forces everyone to be on the same page in the same place. And most people like to scroll through what you're working with them with, whether it's a doc or whether it's a PowerPoint or whatever. So give yourself just a few minutes to talk about or to think about what is going on in this Spot the Troll org. You're going to click on that and go to that. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to work on it. And you can work on probably just situation one and then come back and share what you've learned about the internet already from just doing the Spot the Troll. That relates to this connectivism theory. So 3 minutes of silence. I'll keep watch on time. Click on there now, please. And then come back and be willing to share either through chat or through actually voice. Thank you. So if everyone could come back for a minute and let me know what you have found out from playing with this site for a minute. What was your experience? Type it in chat or say it aloud, please. No one, anyone? Yeah, everyone is a troll now. Yeah, it's a problem. And I apologize in advance for typing on a micro keyboard. Yeah. And if you notice, Carmen, what goes on there is that these are from other countries infiltrating us to influence us in ways we'd rather not be influenced. These are real trolls. And you could play with the whole site if you want. So here's an example of inclusive education. You've gotten a taste of it. If you want to learn more about it, that's your choice to do. People that know it already don't have to do it anymore. That's part of inclusive education. And if you notice on the first slide, it says in Connectivism Theory, part of it is knowing about the information and how to find the right information as much as getting the information to you. So think about that when you present your classes. It's hard to tell if it's a troll or and if you take a tech person, they get 100% on all these troll things. So digital literacy has to start to happen for us. It's not happening yet. That's part of an inclusive classroom is digital literacy. Now, here's the acronym for ALIGN. And thank you for your chats. I appreciate that. The alignment is what you're all used to with QM, setting those standards, setting those SMART goals. But then the next four letters are very different in what it does. And I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. At the end of this afternoon's session, I am going to load in chat 2 resources for you. A resource for the Agile Manifesto and how to use it. It's a brochure you can click on, go to SharePoint in 365 and you'll get it. It's a 5-day limit. And also a little award for thinking out of the box and being here today. So I will add that in the chat. So don't leave by the end of the session without getting those links because they give you some free materials you might be interested in using. Food for thought. This is looking at Agile and the 4 basic principles of it. So you start to see the focus is on individuals and your interactions, not just student collaboration, instructor to student collaboration, which is very vital for that humanizing we heard about in our keynote speaker. And most online courses, we focus on process and tools. Once again, I won't insult your intelligence by reading them. You could read these points. If you look at the graphic I have to the right, it's done in French. I want to see if anyone could tell us what those French terms mean in relation to getting online issues resolved for inclusion and engagement. So the top of the iceberg is where we want to be. The things at the bottom of the iceberg have little icons next to them. What do they mean? Anybody want to guess? What does, for instance, I'll put it in chat. What does this word mean? Yeah, that's right. Very good. Yeah, bon appetit is good habits, having good habits. That means good online, digital habits. What about the deception? What's that refer to? Good guess, Jen, but it's not. Anybody else want to guess what deception means? Not deception. And see, these are things we don't even think about when we're designing online classes. Deception refers to confusion, being concerned about what's going on. And the ekio is referring to trying hard, being challenged. Because unless we challenge them in an online environment, they're not going to try hard enough to learn the new material. So that's just an idea. You could look at all of them. And if you translate them, those are the problems we need to overcome as we design a good, inclusive, engaging online course. Waiting for my slide forward. Come on. Now, this is a list of some of the things that you need to have if you're going to design a good, inclusive, engaging online course. I'm not going to ask you once again to point them out. I wish I had laser pointers. I could have you point on which ones you're using, which ones you're not. This is just a very comprehensive list. And really, most of them need to be employed if your course is going to be engaging and inclusive. If you go down to the bottom, second from the bottom is Office 365 SharePoint and Immersive Reader. Most you have access to Office 365. You put all your docs there. The students go to Immersive Reader. They can have it read to them in a male voice, a female voice, slow speed, fast speed. They can translate into 40 different languages. So the whole idea of engaging in a native language is there. It's automatic. You just have to teach students how to use it and share your docs through SharePoint with the Immersive Reader that's there. And this is the most extensive Immersive Reader I have found. And as I said in the beginning, most universities have SharePoint already. So, and Office 365, so it shouldn't be a problem for you. If not, look into it. It's a valuable asset to have. This is the Agile Manifesto. This is the document I'm going to give you a link to. It's in my SharePoint and it's available for 5 days and then it disappears and you'll be able to get a brochure about all this. But you'll start to look at on the right side, I've re-engineered from software to educational application online. And this list is inclusive in terms of designing. You can't skip any of them. The hardest thing for most people to understand is that the very last thing on this list is at regular intervals, you have to reflect and then redesign your course mid-stride. The course becomes a living document. That's when it's fully inclusive. That's when it's fully engagement. And for instance, I use Blackboard and I use their Blackboard SCORM analytics and Scrum. And I can tell what students are doing. You can't just go by how much time they spent at a site or a doc or an activity, because students are really good at following the system. They'll open up your doc and walk away and let it sit for 45 minutes and they've done nothing with it. But when you get on your system, it'll look like they spent 45 minutes with the doc. So there are other things you have to build in for that accountability. Be aware of that. And once they learn they're accountable, they're there and they're doing what they need to do. Now, I don't know, for sake of time, I'm going to actually give you the link in the chat in a minute. You really want to get away from those Panopto talking head videos because the students don't watch them. They don't pay attention. They have them up and they're not listening to them. You're better off putting up a Word doc that they listen to in their own language, in their own time, in their own speed, whatever they happen to want. And if you do video, do animated video, Powtoon, Beyond, Movely, because that is something that has automatic generated captions. It can be played at different speeds and it is less biased towards certain views or images. I'll give you one of my descriptions of what we're doing here in my Beyond video that I use, the Beyond Studio. And then I always start off all my courses with and we heard that in the keynote speaker too, introducing them, making them feel comfortable. I have a course trailer, like a movie trailer. So they get this cute little course trailer that they get to watch 2 weeks before the course. And students really tend to like that. They really tend to enjoy that. Now, at this point, before I move on, I want to, oh, thank you for putting the Beyond thing there. Thank you, thank you. I'd like to have people open up questions and answers about a course you have that you might want to try to consider, questions you have about your course. One of the courses I teach at my university is a teacher prep course for high school. So I have to create simulations and applications and engagements for all the subject matters, ag, PE, a plethora of things. So I may have some recommendations for you if you want them right now. So I'd like some comments, questions, ideas. I know this is quick, it's only 25 minutes, but just let's see if we can give a couple people, get a couple people in here to ask some questions and get some ideas on how they could use this. No one, anyone? Like I was in a previous session where people were talking about the nursing field, and there are actually triage sessions you can do in an island on Second Life. So you can do really extreme triage sessions for medical purposes in simulations that include everybody. They walk in with their avatar. There's no problem with language. There's no problem with anything. Oh, good. Someone is using it already. Okay. Let me go back in the chat because I got a bunch of chat things. Let me scroll back for a minute. Yeah, and Diana, I can definitely work with you on this. They're trying right now through Ally, which does a lot of accessibility, Phil Johnson is trying to get me out in Cal Matters and a lot of the other things out here, because I have data on this, 5 years of data, and the data is astounding on what it shows students do in these inclusive classes versus not. Perfect example. You all went through the COVID issue. In our university, I don't know about yours, but in our university, we had many, many students who withdrew from courses because they couldn't deal with going online. And I said to my students, we got this. We're not going to use Zoom. We're going to use a virtual classroom. We're going to do X and Y and Z. I have an inclusive model. And all of my students had no issues, and all of my students completed with high scores. And it wasn't me, it was just the tools I chose to employ. And I could share those tools with you because anyone could do this. It's just making the right tool choices. But the biggest thing here is to not try to migrate your live face-to-face session materials into the virtual room. There are different tools by which to engage students and interact with that content, very different often from a live classroom. And that's the biggest takeaway you have to get. So thank you for sharing that. Let me look, see. Agile methodology actually is, it's a common thing in business, but you're right, but not in HE. I have the brochure that I'm going to put in chat for you that shows the education adaptation I have done for Agile. So I agree with you that Agile is what we normally see in business. You are going to get my brochure on the education adaptation that I have created that has been research-based, proven to work. So thank you for saying that. So let's go to the next slide. It's moving really slowly. Come on. Now, as we talk about inclusivity, and we've heard already about the whole idea of mobile first learning, if you use Office 365 with the good mobile first program, such as 7 Taps, the students never need a computer again. Hotspots are done, having Wi-Fi is done, because everyone has a phone. And everything, if you use these two, a good mobile first device, which is all HTML, and Office 365, which is also HTML convertible, and Blackboard, I believe, has an HTML mobile first site. Now, Canvas does not yet. You are able to have your students complete on a phone. I'm doing this now. My students are saying, this is wonderful. This is marvelous. I don't need to worry about my computer anymore. And if you're saying, well, how do they do assignments? It's all simulations. It's all virtual project-based learning. And they submit a doc through Office 365, send it in SharePoint, whatever it is, a video they've created for me, a simulation, I see it in SharePoint. They have the Office Sway. If you haven't seen Office Sway, I'll put that down here right now. Sway is the way to go. I've had people do these professional presentations in Sway, that's on Microsoft Office, that they're using for job portfolios now. Very interactive, incredibly interactive. But once again, it's just a matter of thinking out of the box. So let me go to my last slide now to leave time for the, wow, why is it taking so long? These are all my takeaways that I have. There's the SharePoint for the brochure. There's the SharePoint for the gift from Canva. It's a little printable, a PDF for thanking you for coming here. So you can pull that up on your computer, and let me get out of this share right now and go to my main screen so I can load all this down right now. I'm going to pull it up, taking time, my computer being slow. And I'm going to load all these links right now for you into chat. I don't know if I can do them all at once or not. Let me see. There's the brochure. I'm going to load the PowerPoint, which has all these things in here right now. I'll load that again for you. So you see that having to attach to a, I don't know, somebody just might have loaded it for me. Thank you. I'll just share it again just in case. There's that. So when you start to use Office 365, you don't have to worry about, did my presentation, are the materials available? You just send this out. This is like a 5-day link, and it goes down after that. So you have to grab it right away. Let me give you another link to help you think about things. This is a link that wasn't on the PowerPoint, but I think it's useful for you. So I'm going to send this out right now. As I said, you can feel free to contact me. And also from SharePoint, you have my email then, I believe. I will work with anybody if you want to do an Agile course. I'm very much into it, and I realize the benefits it has to everybody, students and you alike, in designing. This site that I'm going to link right now gives you an example of how to differentiate learning. This happens to be a vocabulary learning site, but it shows you really great ideas for what you need to put into your course. Because in an inclusive course, you have a content area. There's a video to support it. There's a Prezi to support it. There's an audio link to support it. There's a Word doc to support it. They're all support docs. You just choose a set of parallel docs, and then the students choose which way they want to learn it. Do they like video? They go there. Do they like Prezis? They go there. If they need more information, they've done the game on it, and the game doesn't let them learn enough, then they go to the Prezi. So they have a choice. You just put a whole set of different types of things available. And of course, using Ally then allows it to be read to them, allows it to be put in consumable format. If you look at all the things available from Ally, that also helps also. And Canvas, Blackboard, all of them have Ally with it right now. And so you just click on it and make those consumable docs for them. But it's more than just Ally consumability. It's different versions, multimodal, as we call it. Let me see if there's anything else I have that I want to give you from these links. I have Canva link too. So that way I put the thank you, appreciation bookmark in SharePoint, but I also, and let me check right now. It seems my email's there, and I'll put that in also. I'm going to put this right now in the Canva link too, so you can go to Canva. If you don't know what Canva is, this will let you, come on, there it is. Why is this system so slow? There's the Canva link. I'll put my email in link right now too. I mean, I would love to help anybody do this. It's amazing what it does. Once you get your head around it, you will be very, very happy that you've done it, because students just totally enjoy it. There are no due dates in my class. There are no must be done by this time. I have people that stay on a weekly session schedule. I have people that get behind and binge and do equally well. So it's a very interesting virtual world, but especially for those who have like health problems, that's part of inclusivity. If they are having, say, a health issue with their health and they can't do the work for 3 weeks in a normal class, they're in not a good place. But when they are in this type of aligned design classroom, agile design classroom, they are right where they need to be. And I went really fast because I know we only have 25 minutes, but I wanted to leave time for questions. So any questions, comments, ideas? I can go back to slides and review more if you want, but the Agile brochure gives you the educational adaptation. You have the PowerPoint slides now. You also have the focus point from MBeam on how to do things. Questions, comments? You do need somebody, I agree with you, to walk you through Agile, to kind of say, here's how you can put your course together. But I can look at a course and give you, yes, I use group work, Alexander, absolutely. I give them an option, because there are people like myself when I was in school that detested group work, because it always seemed I was the one that was doing most of the work. Most of you are probably there too, and the rest of the people went along for the ride. So I didn't want to do group work, but they have an option. Every major assignment opens up as you could do this as a group, or you could do it by yourself, your choice. But knowing if you do it by yourself, you still have to do the same amount of work as the group would do. And it's amazing how many opt to do it individually. And I set up shares on 365. And then when I set up their shares on 365, I can go anytime I want and visit their shares to see what they're doing, what they've been working on, to give them comments, recommendations on what they need to work on. When you do a course through Agile, the communication loop is huge. And so my email quota each semester, this will intimidate you. It's really not intimidating. Once you learn how to do it, it's probably 2,000 to 3,000, all personalized commentary to students. But I've learned how to do it. It really does work. It seems a lot at first, but once you get used to what the students are doing, I hold regular digital dialogue sessions where I have sessions open where they can join, and then they can open up personal rooms with me. I used for at least part of the semester an Avatar campus, and they love that. But I give them every option possible for ways to consume the material they need to consume, and for ways to produce the work they need to produce. And that makes it inclusive.
Thank you
Well,
very
Steve,
much,
you're right.
Kat.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and so thank you very much, Kat, for your presentation. We have a break coming up, so I would encourage anyone, if you're going to be in Gatherly, Kat, anyone that might want to chat with you can join you in Gatherly, or you do have the email address, so that is great. So I want to thank everyone for attending this session since our time is up. And please, when you
Yeah,
complete
I'll
the
show up in the
survey.
IDE table.
Awesome,
Thank you, Joan. I just want
excellent.
to say I'll show up in the IDE table. Yeah, so people want to, because I saw some good questions I'd like to answer. So come on to the IDE table, please, and I'll be there.
Great.